The spotlight is locked on New England stars. Inside the building, though, the most interesting movement may be happening nowhere near them. A safety who barely registers with the national media has earned respect behind the scenes. Two unusually versatile athletes arrive before camp, and a battle in the secondary could send a veteran packing before he plays a snap for the Patriots. It looks like routine roster maintenance. I see Mike Vrabel hunting for players who understand assignments, move between roles, and live in the details. Today, we're stepping into that evaluation room to find out who is quietly gaining ground. If you track Foxborough from the inside, subscribe and stay with me. Some players become a story after one spectacular interception. Craig Woodson is taking a different route. First, he became dependable. Now people notice. And honestly, that kind of rise fits a Mike Vrabel defense perfectly. Bucky Brooks named the safety to his 2026 All-Breakout team and used two descriptions that explain why this name deserves attention: hidden gem and glue guy. That is not empty praise. Woodson led every Patriots defender in total snaps as a rookie, logging 1,202 defensive plays when the playoffs are included. A fourth-round pick does not earn that workload by accident. The traditional numbers were quiet: 79 tackles, 3 passes defended, and 2 fumble recoveries. No interceptions. Anyone scanning the stat sheet could move on. The coaching staff sees the work that holds a play together before the ball ever arrives. According to Pro Football Focus, Woodson spent roughly 55% of his snaps at deep safety, 29% in the box, and 13% covering the slot. He communicated adjustments, occupied different spaces, and helped the secondary function when the defense caught fire in the second half of the season. That is where the inside read begins. New England cleared a path for this kid when it released Jabril Peppers and reduced Kyle Duggar's role during camp last year. The Patriots trusted Woodson's command of the system before the public had much reason to believe. Kevin Byard now arrives with thousands of snaps spread across the box, deep middle, and slot. Woodson was already playing a version of that hybrid role. Next to Byard, he gains a veteran reference point who can exchange responsibilities without tipping the coverage. That pairing could free the second-year safety to attack the football more often and turn quiet influence into visible production. New England does not need Woodson to become a July celebrity. It needs him to stay one step ahead when an opposing quarterback thinks he has finally fooled the defense. If the chemistry with Byard shows up early, the biggest breakout of Patriots camp may be someone who has been hiding in the heart of this secondary since last season. On the other side of the ball, the message behind closed doors is not patience, it is numbers. Julian Hill suffered a knee injury during minicamp that ended his season, and Vrabel acknowledged that the tight end room needed another body before camp opened. The answer arrived Wednesday when New England signed Mitch Van Vooren and released fullback Brock Lampy. The name is unfamiliar. The profile explains the interest. Van Vooren began his college career as a track athlete at Marquette, where he set the school record in the 400-meter hurdles. He later transferred to Division III St. Norbert, traded the track for football, and still found a way to compete in both sports. He earned first-team All-American honors in track and placed fourth at the NCAA Division III National Championship. His frame jumps out on the football field, 6'5" and 245 pounds. Across 2 seasons at St. Norbert, he produced 1,045 receiving yards and 13 touchdowns. In 2024, he earned first-team All-NACC honors after posting 33 catches, 510 yards, and 10 touchdowns. Seattle signed him as an undrafted free agent in 2025 and released him that summer. Cleveland kept him for the rest of camp before cutting him on roster down day. New England is not adding a prospect who has never felt the speed of an NFL summer, even if he has yet to establish himself in the league. I like the logic here. The Patriots did not chase an expensive name just to pretend Hill's injury no longer matters. They brought in an unusual athlete to compete for a specific job. Hunter Henry remains the established option. Rookie Eli Raradune sits behind him. The third spot is open, with C.J. Dupree, Tanner Arkin, Jack Westover, and now Van Vooren fighting for it. Track speed alone will not win that spot. Van Vooren has to prove he can block stronger defenders, recognize his assignments, and contribute on special teams. His background in the hurdles does say something about coordination, burst, and body control. His receiving production says he is more than a big frame parked on the line. My read is that Vrabel wants camp to operate like a laboratory, not a ceremony that confirms a depth chart already written in ink. Van Vooren has no guarantees, but he brings traits the other candidates may not be able to copy. When one roster spot comes down to tiny advantages, being the only athlete of your kind changes the discussion. The transaction looks modest on the wire. Inside the competition, it could force the entire room to pick up the pace. That same day delivered another clue, this time in the middle of the defense. Riley Wilson signed with the Patriots after joining Tampa Bay as an undrafted free agent and later being released. He arrives only days before camp, but he does not carry himself like someone willing to watch the play from a distance. Former Arizona defensive coordinator Danny Gonzalez practically issued a warning about him. During non-padded practices, Gonzalez had to tell Wilson to slow down so he would not run through somebody. That aggression comes with an unusual path. Wilson left high school as a tight end, saw limited action on offense at Hawaii, and then switched to linebacker. He finally found room to explode at Montana, leading the team with 8.5 sacks and 15 tackles for loss. He also led the Big Sky in tackles for loss and solo tackles for loss. At Arizona in 2025, he played 11 games and recorded 51 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 6 pass breakups, and 2 interceptions. Look at that mix. Offensive experience, pressure ability, production against the pass, and an energy level coaches have to control. It does not guarantee him a roster spot. It explains the invitation. The linebacker room changed after the departures of Jelani Tavai, Marte Mapu, and Jack Gibbons. Christian Ellis and Robert Spillane sit at the front, with KJ Britt, Chad Muma, Amari Gaynor, and Otis Reese also competing. Wilson joins fellow rookies Nnamdi Obiazor and Khalil Jacobs. There is even a familiar face from his Hawaii days in safety Peter Manuma. The internal message feels simple. Nobody inherits the open snaps because of seniority. Wilson has to learn the system at full speed and turn instinct into disciplined execution. If he plays too fast, he creates openings. If the staff channels that urgency, New England gains a piece who can run, attack, and contribute in different packages. This is a move at the edge of the roster, the kind that rarely owns the headline. Camp is where the edge becomes opportunity, and where one player in a hurry can reorder an entire room. Now comes the uncomfortable side of this process. Once the depth gets better, experience stops being automatic protection. Mike Reese projected New England's initial 53-man roster and left Kindle Vildor off it. The real choice will come out of camp. For now, the exercise shows just how tight the competition at cornerback has become. Vildor has not played a game for New England. He still arrives with a resume no coach can ignore. 80 regular season appearances, stops with the Bears, Titans, Lions, and Buccaneers, plus 31 starts when the regular season and playoffs are combined. He played 12 games for Tampa Bay in 2025, recording 1 interception and 16 tackles. His career totals stand at 2 interceptions, 18 passes defended, and 140 tackles. That resume usually puts a veteran in a comfortable position, not on this roster. Reese said he wrestled with the final spots. Vildor had an active spring, but Kobee Minor, a 2025 7th-round pick, could push his way into the equation. The debate is not happening in a vacuum. New England already has established talent at the top of the secondary, while several players are trying to show value in coverage, on special teams, and through positional flexibility. For the last cornerback on the roster, playing well may not be enough. He has to solve more than one problem on Sundays. That is what makes the behind-the-scenes calculation so compelling. The veteran can settle down a practice, recognize concepts quickly, and survive when an injury forces him onto the field. The younger player usually costs less, comes with more contractual control, and can still grow inside the system. The staff is not only judging who wins a rep in July, it is projecting who helps in September, who contributes on special teams, and who may be worth more by December. I would not bury Vildor before the first one-on-one drill. A strong camp can wreck any projection, and his experience should show once the pads come on. I would not treat his name as untouchable either. The Patriots have earned a good problem. They no longer have to protect every veteran simply because the alternatives feel dangerous. I want this community watching one detail during practice. Which corner starts appearing in more roles when the staff changes packages? You do not have to pick a favorite yet. Bring the clues to the comments. If Minor expands his role on special teams or Vildor earns trust in different coverages, then we will have evidence worth debating, not just a contest between reputations. Whoever loses this battle will probably find an opportunity somewhere else. New England's job is not to build the most recognizable roster. It is to leave camp with the most adaptable secondary possible. The thread running beneath all 4 stories is not fame, it is usefulness. Woodson could gain freedom next to Byard. Van Vooren is trying to turn athleticism into the 3rd tight end job. Wilson arrives hoping to convert urgency into snaps, while Vildor has to prove his experience can beat the projection. That is the camp I want to see. Roles earned, not handed out. My prediction? At least one of these names will open September with a bigger role than Patriots fans expect today. Drop your prediction in the comments, subscribe to Patriots Club fans, and come back tomorrow. The next practice may deliver the missing clue.